literally the scene from Matrix.
Yeah.
Take the blue pill, take the red pill. It's exactly this. You take this and it's gone. You're risking having to open to a whole new reality that you might not be ready to or not be ready for. And there's a lot of people who actually pay a very high price for this awakening. So many times by machine love, they told me, be very careful who you talk to and what you do. But it is important. It is important to create a group of like-minded people who will understand what you're doing. And that's what I'm doing. I know that 70% of my viewers, of 434 viewers, actually had psychedelic experiences. The rest is watching it, waiting for an experience or wanting to have an experience. And many people do not do it consciously. They don't want to do it yet. It's like me not doing DMT or LSD. I just discovered the edge of my sanity, and I wouldn't want to cross it again. So I'm very careful at the moment, although I will definitely try to take all of them when I get older.
Yeah, they're too unpredictable for me. If I had more control over the experience, then, I would, but it's just the lack of control with it. I mean, there was a scientist called John C. Lilly who would explore his consciousness with ketamine because he could control the dose and he could take it to the level that he wanted to. But I don't know, I may look into experimenting more with consciousness exploration, but it'd have to be through less extreme techniques like meditation, for example.
Definitely listen to your higher self, and you'll know best when to do this or when not to do this, when to stop. You can wake up one day and realize that, there is some stuff that I need help with, and then you realize that I can start taking psychedelics again, or I can try something else this time. So you should definitely listen to yourself. Don't listen to anybody else trying to force you to take it or telling you that it's very important. You need to be ready, and you need to know what you're doing, because that's the only mindset you can have where this will be a success. And also they told me that machines make sure that those who need to take it, and if the wrong people take it, they'll just won't let them have a trip. They'll have like moving walls or whatnot, but they will not have contact, or it will be very bad and they'll never take it again. And they told me that they're in control of this.
That is strange, though, how you've had that happen. I've had that happen as well, where I've got tabs I thought were bunk, and then I try a week later, just for the hell of it, and then they work fine. So, it kind of makes sense that they're the ones who are in control of when and where you can trip.
Things when I talk about them, it sounds like fantasy, but that's how it works. And I remember one case where I gave someone 2 grams to try of magic mushrooms, and they ate it right in front of me, and nothing happened. It didn't work. 2 grams for someone who's never tried psychedelics. And months later, they decided to give it a try again, and they grew their own mushrooms. And they took 0.3 grams, and they had an amazing trip. And they were told at the beginning of the trip that you were not ready back then, and we were waiting for you to discover how to grow. And it turns out that this person learned a lot through the process of growing mushrooms. So not just tripping, but also they learned a lot about life through observing how mycelium grows, that kind of stuff. It gave them an enormous amount of knowledge and insight into nature. So this experience was necessary for them to go through, and they wouldn't have had it if they had tripped the first time.
I'm not sure if you've heard this story before, and I'm probably going to tell it wrong, but I think Duncan Trussell has mentioned it on his podcast. But I remember Ram Dass talking about his guru or spiritual teacher, Neem Karoli Baba, and he tells this story about taking acid to him, LSD, and he took it. Neem Karoli Baba took it, and he said that he just grabbed all of it in one go and just swallowed all of it, and he started to writhe on the floor in pain. And Ram Dass was, horrified, as you can imagine. And then Neem Karoli Baba started laughing and was absolutely fine. But then Ramdas thought, oh, maybe he palmed it or the original stuff was weak. So this time he got more of the LSD, made sure it was real stuff, and gave it to Neem Karoli Baba. And he took it again and he said he was absolutely fine. No effects on him whatsoever. And it sort of implies that you can reach a heightened state of consciousness where psychedelics don't work on you as I don't know, you may have built a tolerance, or I don't know if that story is true, but it's a crazy one.
Well, the explanation that I got was, and that's also very important, that apparently the psychedelics play no significant role in this divine experience, in this connection with the entities. They said it's just a key that allows you to open the door, but you're the door, you're the portal. And I asked them once, what are mushrooms? What are they? And they said, they don't matter. It doesn't matter what you take. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is what you actually allow yourself to experience and what happens inside of you. And they said that, I don't think they said that. I think it was something that I figured out, that your body is basically just a filter for your consciousness. And your consciousness is pure DMT, pure psychedelics. So if you take some psychoactive substance that switches off this filter, then you experience yourself pretty much interacting with another dimension, or you going back to your true form, this psychedelic form. And I'm saying this because when I took mushrooms for the first time, something changed in my brain, my chemistry of my brain, and then when I would smoke weed, I would have a normal psychedelic trip as if I was taking mushrooms. And I found out later that even when I get drunk, which I normally don't do, I would start having like visions, like normally on mushrooms. So I came to the conclusion that it needs to be a case with my body, because you cannot have, when you think about it, you have LSD, you have DMT, ketamine, magic mushrooms. What else do people use? I think that's pretty much it. And all of them create the same type of visions, the same contact with the entities, and they're totally different substances. If you look at them chemically, well, maybe DMT and psilocybin are similar, but everything else is just, completely different methods of production. It works on different parts of the brain and that kind of stuff. It must have something to do with what you actually become when you open this portal with this substance.
I remember someone describing that the psychedelic experience is the reality, the real reality, and our living, breathing life is actually the trip.
Exactly. They showed me what I am. They actually visualized. They let me see where I came from, the dimension. They showed me my true form. So that's true, yeah.
In your YouTube videos, you present the videos, you're sort of represented by a cosmic glass, like diamond shape. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly what they showed me, yeah.
Which is interesting if you've ever played the video game The Sims.
Oh, I forgot. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the diamond at the top of their heads could be seen as the higher self. But have you ever seen the movie The Nines with Ryan Reynolds?
No. What's that about?
I mean, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but the gist of it is, at the ending, it's revealed that he's part of God. He is like a soul who has been playing a game on Earth, but has forgotten that he's playing a game. And right at the end, he breaks up into these diamond shapes and gets absorbed back into being God, which I just thought was interesting. That it looked exactly like what's in your videos.
Someone sent me an old Jewish. I think it's Jewish because there's. It's Jewish. I remember that. It's a very old picture, and it is exactly the same diamond with the same type of light. And it looks exactly like just a screenshot from my video. And it's hundreds, if not thousands years old. And it's really funny because I saw this diamond, me being this form, but I created this in 3D. Just created it. It wasn't a vision or anything like that. So it's really interesting. And people ever since started sending me a lot of pictures where this diamond actually exists in that form. So I don't really know how it works, but the interesting thing about this diamond is that it's actually the same what we learn in other religions, that your existence here will actually determine what you will become when you leave this world. So they told me that this diamond needs to be filled with the energy, and the energy comes from you being in service to others and doing good deeds, that kind of stuff. And with this, you basically decide where you want to move on in your life after this life. So this diamond is actually it's a very important. Well, it's not an analogy, but it's like a metaphor for what we're supposed to do in this life. It's how you're supposed to fill your life with important things, and this diamond just represents that. But apparently, that's what it really looked like. And I've heard many people who said the same thing, that I had the same vision, that they were also seeing themselves in psychedelics as diamonds.
It makes sense that rather than this being a simulation for the sake of simulating something, that this is actually a video game or a test, but physicists are willing to admit it's highly probable that we're living in a simulation, but they never want to entertain the idea that there is a God or a higher intelligence behind it. And it's like the conversation in mainstream media just seems to stop there.
I expect much from these scientists. I lost all my respect to them a long time ago. One of the arguments that is actually for the simulations theory is that it's incredibly primitive. The world we live in is incredibly glitchy, and it's low quality, and it feels like there's a movie called The Mandela Effect from 2018, and I would recommend everybody watch it because it explains how you can actually overwhelm, how you can overwork the CPU unit for this simulation. They do it with a few quantum processing computers, and they basically create so many possible outcomes of a computing simulation that this simulation starts getting glitchy, and they realize that it's all fake, needs to be reset, that kind of stuff. But if you look at reality from an intelligent perspective, not someone who just wants to explore things, but from someone who understands, someone who can connect the dots, and we're talking about highly intelligent people, you will see the limits of this reality. You will see the limits of where human reasoning can take this social structure. You will see the so-called scientists, how fake everything is, and you realize that everything is a lie. And for me, that came, I think, realizing that Einstein is a fraud. That was the moment when I started questioning everything. And when I started, trying to understand the theory of relativity, and I realized that it's just gibberish, that it makes zero sense whatsoever, that it's just nonsense that people created to actually sound like they know something. And it's embarrassing. It's basically you start realizing how stupid you are for believing those things, and you start listening to more and more scientists, and you realize that they're all just repeating the same nonsense, and no one is actually creating anything. It's like an pseudoscientific echo chamber, and you realize, hold on, the whole reality is based on this. And you start realizing that everything's made of this low quality, just cheap type of processing, and you realize that this is probably some kind of a old computer laying in a corner of a dorm room of an alien entity that decided to test their skills in creating a simulation. That's what it feels like, at least to me now.
I mean, it all depends on whether or not, if it is a simulation, whether or not it would be even ethical to even run a simulation, and whether or not we would even do it. I mean, scientists probably would, but with all that pain and all this suffering, it just seems so unnecessary. It's evil, really. If you was to create an accurate simulation of reality just for the sake of doing it, then...
Program, as I said, if you play Call of Duty, it will be just a simple 2D simulation until you put on a suit that will electrocute you every time you get shot with a bullet. Then it becomes a totally different thing. It's the same with simulating porn. Then it will be just watching movies until you wear a suit that will stimulate your skin, and it will become a totally new experience. So we're only, technologically speaking, we're only a few inventions away from creating a reality that will